All right. Well, welcome everybody again to TheTitleFight.com. This is Gordy Tamayo. Today we welcome St. Petersburg native and Christian hip-hop artist, Kevin Elijah Burgess, otherwise known as KB in the phone booth. We're going to talk life, music, and of course a little bit of boxing. How's life treating you today, KB?
Man, I'm well, man. I'm here in Tampa, Florida. We down here suffering with, 70-degree weather while y'all are over there enjoying y'all below zero.
Yeah.
Temperatures.
That's right. I know I'm keeping myself all... Well, we don't do turtlenecks anymore. That was like a decade ago, so I'm still strapped up in some sweaters, though, so... We're doing all right. Appreciate it, champ. Well, let's jump right into it. We can see you've been on quite a roller coaster right here in the last 6 years. If you could, for some people who maybe not quite sure who you are just yet or just getting to know you, speak a little bit to listeners and readers on who you are, what introduced you to music, and, what conceived that passion to pursue it.
Yeah, well, my name is KB. I'm 25 years old. Husband, soon to be father. Actually, our son is due in May.
Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Very excited about that. I'm telling everybody that the baby drops in May, you know what I mean? Because I'm a rapper. That's the language we use.
Yeah.
And I'm a Christian. When I was 16 years old, I had a pretty profound encounter with God, and I have been walking with Him ever since. And then I'm also a musician. Mm-hmm. So I have a natural passion for hip-hop. I've always been a part of the culture as long as I can remember. Always been attracted to it. Love to study it. I consider myself a student of the craft. And when you put someone who has a genuine passion about God and a serious skill in the arts, I think that's what you get in me. So you're going to get somebody who, when you hear my music, which I have been doing professionally now for about 4 years. I've probably been rapping since I was, 15, 16 years old. But I've been with a label called Reach Records, who is co-owned by Grammy Award-winning Lecrae. Mm-hmm. And also that's a pretty, I think, nicely stacked label with guys like Trip Lee and Mineo, Derek Minor, Tadashi, which are all guys who have made a name for themselves through the music and share the same passion that I have, where we want our music to resonate with you as art and solid hip-hop, but also shape the way you see the world by shaping the way you see God. That's been their passion for a while. They brought me on a few years ago. And I help to sort of, keep the banner waving high and consistently. So yeah, that's who I am.
That's what's up. So yeah, you got a whole entourage of things going on, from being a new daddy, which is a total change in and of itself, and to being an artist that's now running with some of the big dogs that are doing some big things in the game, and now you're an active part of that. Recently we've been keeping up to date with some of the stuff you've been doing. We recently listened to an interview that you had with Rapzilla and mention of your adoption into the Reach Records family. And I stated in that interview there, you stated there was not a particular formula in place for obtaining this type of collaboration, but your faithfulness in God and what HGA was doing was what caused Lecrae and Reach Records to take notice. Now, was that shock factor with the sudden change, or how have you handled the transition so far into this new role?
Yeah, well, first of all, I never want to. I've been asked that before, and it can come off sort of cliche. So let me preface it by saying that I'm very excited, man, about this new stage in life for several reasons. When Reach approached me, one of the most practical and exciting reasons why I wanted to be with them was because I was about to get married and I needed money. So I was like, I can either continue, where I'm at,
right,
or I can. The Lord has sort of opened the door for me to be able to provide.
Sure.
So I'm attracted to provision. So that was a big deal for me because I had never the music that I did before was purely just soul music. I mean, I had no idea what the music business was. I didn't know what a contract was, what a royalty was, residuals. None of that. All that language was alien to me. I remember Lecrae even telling me, like, listen, I'm gonna let you know this ain't what you think it is. You know, it's not just a bunch of people coming together, you know, love Jesus and talk about him and go to sleep. That's not how it works. This is a business, very multifaceted. And by you saying yes to the label, is by you saying yes to being a businessman. And if you don't want to be a businessman, this isn't for you. So I really appreciated on the very practical level. I got introduced to an aspect of manhood that I wasn't necessarily familiar with, which was that you need to be a provider as a, you know, for me to be what I need to be on, as far as fulfilling my calling, I needed to be acclimated with business and understanding how to be a steward of my resources. So that was one of the things that I found very attractive about Reed, because I didn't know anything about that. So that was a big transition. The transition was I felt like before I would say something and it would just be citywide. I would put music out, it would be citywide. I'd do an interview, it would just be citywide. And now with Reach, it's not so much that what I'm doing has changed, it's just the audience that is exposed to it has changed. So I'm doing a lot of the same things, saying a lot of the same things, except I'm doing it now on a worldwide, you know, status. I went to Africa with Reach, I think 2 years ago. We went to 6 countries in Africa. And in Africa, they don't have access to, like, iTunes and, well, a lot of places in Africa didn't have access to iTunes and some of our distributors. So most of the stuff that they got, they either got it illegally online or listened to it on, like, YouTube. So when I went there, I had just signed with the label with Reach. I had just put out my mixtape, which did relatively well. Actually, did a lot better than anybody thought it would do. A lot better than I thought it would do. And I didn't realize how much of a transition it was from the whole citywide, you know, scope to the worldwide scope. So I went to Africa, and I found that these individuals had been downloading my music because it was free, and they knew every single word. I went to, I mean, literally every concert. I mean, I had people there that were treating me like I was Lecrae in the sense of everybody knew who I was, everybody wanted to talk to me, everybody wanted my autograph, pictures. That was something I was completely unaware of. So it shifted, like, what you're doing shouldn't change. Just stay passionate about it. Put out the best work possible at all times. But realize that the responsibility of it has went higher because you're sort of accountable to more people. Because you're affecting more people by what you're saying. So those were the 2 big transitions that I experienced moving to Reach.
So that leads me into another thought here. You know, with some of your label mates now that you got, you're involved with some heavy hitters in the industry. You know, they're not afraid of pushing the boundaries, showing the world that there's real good hip-hop music outside of the standard secular realm. And as stated, and as said, iron sharpens iron. And you're surrounding yourselves by some other men that are sharp irons. Being around those other cats in that roster there, how has that helped you into taking on this other phase that normally you weren't accustomed to in the past?
Man, again, excellent question. But no, it's been dope, man. It's I think I would describe my relationship with these guys as a brother-to-brother relationship, and it provides sort of a safety because there's a lot of wrong turns that you can make in the industry. And these dudes are very much aware of them. So, yeah, they're pushing the limits and their talent is on display. But these dudes are Christian men. They care about the dudes under them. They want to serve and shepherd. One of the things that makes our label different from most labels out is the camaraderie and the fellowship, if I can use that word, between the artists. So I'm friends with a few professional athletes, and one of the things that I've found with some of the baseball players that I've gotten to meet is that when we see these cats on TV and we see the heavy hitters, to sort of use your language, like the dudes who are literally running the game, like, you know, are getting the highest, you know, percentages and all across the field. And these dudes are like the A-class athletes. And what I found is that those guys don't even get it in with the dudes who they get to play and all that, but because they're not on the A-class level, they don't even talk on the field. We don't communicate. I only communicate with people, who are doing it like I'm doing it. And that can be discouraging and mean. And what I can say about Reach is that is not the flavor of the artist there. At least it hasn't been the flavor of the way the guys who have been killing it for a while get down. If anything, they want you to be where they are, and they want to serve you as best as they know how, without letting the fact that they don't need you, per se, get to their head. But we feel like we do need each other because we believe in God, that God is purposely intertwining the relationships in our lives to tell His story. And you're just as important, whether you are, speaking to me directly or up to me or beside me. It doesn't matter where you're positioned as far as the industry is concerned. You're important because you're made in the image of God, and I value your input in my life. So, yeah, it's been dope.
Good stuff there. You mentioned with being around some of these guys that, they know some of the pitfalls that are susceptible in the industry. And we know in life, and just like in boxing, we take some punches, we take some hits. Sometimes we fall, sometimes you get up and you continue to fight. What have been, if any, some of the setbacks musically that you've had to fight through so far, and what motivates you to keep fighting through that?
I'll say I just talked to one major it was sort of a setback, is that I had to learn early on that opportunities will always be there. So don't ever become a slave to any one opportunity. That to hold everything loosely. Whether if there's talks of something big happening, don't begin to, metaphorically put all your eggs into that basket so that when it doesn't happen, you feel like you've been done wrong, that you'll never be able to recover, and you sort of make it seem like your life was dependent upon that opportunity. So here recently, we'll just give a terrestrial experience. Here recently, I was going to be a part of this tour, and so probably top 10, if not probably one of the top 10 biggest tours in the nation, and then definitely top 5 biggest tour in the Christian realm. And I was invited to be a part of it. We were working the contract and everything together. We began to, I had been doing a whole lot of traveling for the last 2 years, so we're getting ready to sort of kick it into neutral and take it easy, prepare for this tour. We were organizing our finances, our merchandise, the music schedule. Everything was going around this opportunity. And to make a long story short, it ended up not happening. And it turned to a point where it was this great opportunity for me into a burden that if I would pursue it anymore, this would be bad for me, bad for my family, bad for my career. And it was, for lack of better words, taken away.
Sure.
So, and I felt exposed when that happened, Gordy. I felt like God was showing me that I had erred too much in the I erred too much on the side of holding a situation tightly, as if I don't have it, then I don't have anything, which is a lie. So that is something that happens more in the artist's life than fans will know of, or we're constantly getting presented with different ideas or prospects, opportunities, sponsorships, and there's a sort of sobriety and maturity that we have to have with all of them, lest we lose our footing and become discouraged, beat down, and even want to quit because things don't go the way we want them to. So that's one of the biggest lessons that I have learned in just personally experiencing and dealing with some of my brothers who sort of helped to encourage me and have had to experience that themselves. That is something that they've been able to share with the team, which has been helpful for all of us, because we are all prone to make good into God. There's only one There's only one that I cannot do without. There's only one opportunity that I could never pass out. And I can never pass up. And if I don't have that, then there's really nothing else worth living for. And my belief is that Jesus. That's not any tour or song or collaboration or sponsorship or amount of money. So that's something that I've had to
great response there. I mean, that's some wisdom I think we can all take to heart there, and that leads me perfectly into my next thought here. With recently I heard you say something that really captivated myself, and I wanted to bring it up. But you mentioned in some video that you were doing, I believe it was one of the promotional videos for your upcoming release, but you mentioned what you do is not nearly as important as who you do it for. And that appears to be the mantra for your latest endeavor, and maybe even what you've kind of lived leading up until now, really is kind of a mentality for purposeful living. You know, for somebody hearing that for the first time and hearing you for the first time, talk to us what that means, and what you meant by when you said it.
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, I'm very much aware of what's happening in culture. Mm-hmm. I'm very much aware of the struggles of not just Christians but people, and it is a reality that folks are status driven. Especially, I'm from the hood,
sure,
and I'm from a place where it's like it doesn't matter if you have money. It's just you need to look like you have money. Mm-hmm. So instead of really giving ourselves to learning how to invest, to save, and not make stupid financial decisions, we would rather give ourselves to the appearance of wealth. So if that is if I could just like sum up the pursuit of a lot of individuals from where I come from, that's what it would be. And the fact of the matter is that's not helpful for you, that's not helpful for your family. Moreover, it's not helpful for society that we don't think about things beyond statuses.
Right.
So the first lie is that if you don't have money, you don't have anything. There is some principal truth in that. We have to provide. I mean,
sure.
The Bible calls us to be productive and fruitful. We're not like called to be poor.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not that we're called to be rich. I'm just saying that we're not like called to have our families at risk all the time, sure, and wondering how we're going to take care. No, we have to be hard workers that get a return from the land. So we got that. However, that does not mean that if I'm not living in a certain area code or have a certain type of car or status that I'm really not doing anything. That is the lie of hip-hop. That is the lie of our day. The truth of the matter is any hard work that brings about a return, no matter what it is dignified and valuable work, and it should not be looked down upon because it isn't what such and such does, or it isn't what I wish I was doing. So on the front end, dealing with what you do, that we got to find dignity in just giving our all, hard work and providing. When you can sit down with your family, even if it's in your one-bedroom apartment, and you see them eating, and your wife or your family is going to the refrigerator and pulling food out and putting on the table that your hands provided for, that is more important than any type of car you're driving or where you may live. So that's on the front. And the second end is who you do it for. The second thing is what you do, which is important. It's just not as important as who you do it for. At the end of the day, all of us are going to give an account for the gifts, the talents, the circumstance that God has given us. And one of the beautiful things about life on earth is that what we do doesn't stop here. That we can do small things like, for example, my homie Craig, who's a garbage man. Like, he literally wakes up every morning with a sense of joy in his heart, not because he's passionate about trash,
right,
but he's passionate about keeping up the needs of the city.
Right.
The city would be overwhelmed with garbage, overtaken with garbage, if it wasn't for men like Craig, who put on their boots at 3 o'clock in the morning and went out and took care of it. So what is he excited? Where is he getting this passion from? Well, he's excited that he's serving God by keeping up God's city. God is literally keeping up his city through Craig. So he's doing it for him, and also he's doing it for his family. Like I mentioned with what we do, what it's connected to is that it brings about provision for people, and that is good. That's where we got to focus. If we don't focus there as a society, we will become very hollow, and we won't have meaningful, purposeful lives. We'll just be crabs in the bucket trying to be on top of our neighbors.
Good response. Mentioning where you come from and kind of some of that background there, for some people who are still on the fence or haven't fully given themselves to Christ, sometimes scared away from His Word, how do you find a medium in making music where it's relatable but also speaking God's Word without being too aggressive and pushing people away? How do you do that as an artist?
Very true, very true. Well, as an artist, what I try to do is be very aware of, first of all, I want to be very aware of what I sense the Lord is telling me to say and want me to talk and encouraging me to talk about. That before is a great issue of how do we communicate to people in a way where they don't feel pushed away or ostracized or judged. That is a very big issue that we have to deal with. But before we get there, we also have to answer the question, how do I obey what I'm called to do? I mean, this is for, like, when it comes down to it, in life, you have to establish what is it that you actually stand for. Like, whose opinion matters more than anybody else's. And for me, it's the opinion of God, and also, just to be honest, the opinion of my community. So I'm really thinking about how this is going to affect and resonate with the people around me. And also I'm thinking, how does this best honor God? Because at the end of the day, I don't have to answer to, ultimately I'm going to have to answer to the Lord of the universe. So that's where I operate from. So I start there, then I want to move to communication. Is how do I talk in a way and rap in a way that you can be anybody, and understand it. So basically, as a Christian artist, we shouldn't do our art in a way that you have to be a Christian to appreciate it. Because we're talking about substitutionary atonement and we're talking about the sacrificial system and the blood of the Lamb, like all these things which are going to show up in our music. But if they pervade our music, then we gotta ask ourselves, are we being the most effective in communicating to people? You shouldn't have to be a Bible scholar to get what I'm saying. Right. The other temptation for me is I love philosophy, but I could go and start naming all these philosophers and all their thoughts and go from thought to thought, and yet the people will be equally as lost. It's like we're not all philosophy majors, right. So there's communication is really big for me. Is if my heart is going to be understood and not misinterpreted, then I want to say it as best that I could, where everybody can sit at the table and eat from this meal. The dude that has nothing to do, that doesn't know nothing about church or God, then also the individual who loves the Lord and loves God, loves the fellowship with the church. The skeptic can sit at the table as well, and the individual may even be hostile with me. So those are the things that I try to think through when I'm sort of balancing that, balancing on that rope of going, too right or too left. So,
I can totally understand where you're coming from, being very strategic with how you're placing that, and I can see where your heart's at with the people, with your community, and that kind of leads me to thinking. Speaking of your community, a couple years back, when a lot of this really got some momentum building, we mentioned earlier about HGA. And some people, they might not know what HGA is. This Genesis, as you called it, became a catalyst for yourself, for many individuals to, as you stated, pursue Jesus, not necessarily perfectly, but do so consistently. And it became somewhat of an anomaly in a sense of, you said, how did we go from thieves, drug dealers, goody toe shoe players, and atheists to missionaries in Iraq, Peru, China, Costa Rica, Brazil, and most dearly Tampa? How did this all come about with HG, and how did that play a role into where we are today?
Yeah, man, that's an excellent question, man. HGA is, it's in my opinion, it was a citywide movement, I think, and I would just compare it to what the old Christians will call a revival. You know what I'm saying? When the sense of what a revival is where there's this awe and this sense of power that's coming from the reality that God is real and he wants to get with people, and people become very aware of that, and they want to turn away from anything that will come in between them and pursuing God. So what happened was, man, it was nothing we planned up. I mean, a lot of us were very prayerful. I mean, I became a Christian at 16. I wanted to be used by God. I wanted to do something meaningful for Him and His kingdom. I was always my prayer that I would be sort of one of His ace cards. I don't care if people know who I am. Like if I'm just in the field and He sees me, that's okay. I just want to be, I want a meaningful ministry for Him.
Sure.
It turned into like a 2 fish and 5 loaves miracle thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that revival and the miraculous 2 fish 5 loaves thing when we came together with a few dudes, and a few dudes turned into 10 dudes, and 10 to 20, 30, 40. Now there's sisters involved, and everybody was sold out, ready to die for the cause. And it really became something that was affecting Tampa at large. A lot of people knew who we were. We were doing concerts here in the area, and a lot of folks are coming out to sort of rock with us and catching wind, just encouraged by the radical living. We're just unashamed of the gospel, and we want Him above everything else. So that has greatly affected who I am today. HGA is still a persisting reality. We're a lot more spread out now. We're more of an alliance as opposed to a group. And we still keep that same passion that we want at the end of all our endeavors to look back and say, we did this, that God will be glorified. And what I mean by that is we did this so that people through us would see God better than they ever have before in everything that we do. I don't care if we're bankers or we're missionaries in Iraq. We want God to be seen in what we do. So, yeah, that's the heart of my music. That'll always be there. Whether you hear me talking more explicitly about my faith, or am I talking about something that just do indirectly, yet still faithful to the Word of God. Man, that's what we want people to get, His glory alone.
That's insightful to hear. Now we're leading into another opportunity for you to take that into another platform, another level, if you would, here with an upcoming release that you're entitled 100. Talk to us a little bit about the backdrop behind that concept of the album, and what can we expect sonically from this new project?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so 100 is again one of those things inspired by my community. We're trying to help cats, in our city and our fellowship, to understand the idea of being made in the image of God. You know what I mean? So it's not just like we would normally use that. You're in the image of God for something to make women feel good about how they look. They're beautifully made in the image of God, which is good. Right. But being made in the image of God is more than just sort of a therapeutic argument to retreat to when I start feeling bad about myself. Mm-hmm. Though it is, but I'm just saying it's more than that. It's a function, meaning that you've been put here to represent and to do something. One of the crowning attitudes of being made in the image of God is somebody that gives their all. You know what I'm saying? Like few things the Bible hates on, like it does on laziness, and cats that are like committed to being safe and not taking risks, dudes that are we're so prone to be like captured by fear. So God is always going after that. He wants us to live fearlessly and also leaving it all on the field, man. And what other sport communicates that idea like boxing?
Right.
Maybe UFC, but in my opinion, there's just a lot more happening in UFC than in boxing. To me, boxing is sort of, it's more scientific to me. I feel like I can just resonate with the art of it as opposed to UFC, which is now I'm not hating. I'm just saying it's just a little more barbaric for me. So I lean much more towards boxing. So I was like, man, what other sport communicates the fight of giving your all, of every time you get into the ring, that it's you versus this other person, and we're fighting to the death. At least that's what it feels like.
Right.
And at the end, when the bell rings and we hug, we both feel a sense of survival, that we were both proud of each other as we've given our all. I've seen fighters absolutely hate each other in the press conferences.
Right.
And the moment that bell rang after round 12, it was all smiles, it was all hugs, it was all love, because we have this sense that we just went out here, put our manhood on the line, and have sort of proven. It's not even about being the better man. It's about giving our all.
Right.
We both gave our all. So that is sort of the heart of my project, and I'm wanting that to be like wildfire with the people who are, and with my fans, and we'll see that stuff will start happening, man, when people live like that. Like the world will be impacted when, we live 100. Nothing of significance happens until people decide that we're going to do what we do to the fullest, no matter where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So that when that starts to happen, I'm pleased, and I think that the music, the content of the EP and everything around it is in that vein. Sonically, we've termed this phrase cinematic trap. So it's me taking all the things that I love and putting them into a 6-song EP where I love big strings, drums, piano, violins. We even got an orchestra on one song, but yet I'm also from South Florida, so I love trap music. So we've combined them two. We combined the two and termed the phrase cinematic trap, and that's what you're going to get sonically. Nice.
Well, you read my heart and encompassed in all of that there and answered my question that I was leading into next there. We're at TheTitleFight.com. We believe we're building a platform where music and boxing collide, and you just gave a great description of how they relate to one another in that sense there. So I appreciate you giving me an elaborate description of that as well. Of course, we got to talk a little bit of boxing, and we heard that you like to indulge in crab legs and boxing. I'm a country boy myself. That's a good combo. Don't get me wrong. I'm more of a steak potato guy myself, but good combo.
Okay, it's all good.
Who are some of the fighters, KB, that you're currently following and watching right now?
Yeah, man. Well, you're going to be excited about this one. So, Andre Ward is actually is becoming a bit of a homie of mine.
Oh, yeah?
Nice. Yeah, I actually was just out in Cali with him 2 weeks ago. And the single from my EP, 100, we shot a music video for it. And it's sort of a secret, but I'll share it with y'all. He's in it.
Nice.
Sort of one of the main characters in the video. So, and just getting to know Andre, man, hanging out with him I was out there for 3 days. It's just a blessing, man. Like, he's such a real dude. Like, he is as much of a champion in the ring, or outside the ring, as he is inside the ring. And so Andre Ward is top of my list. Probably my favorite fighter currently. So, he's been one of my favorite fighters. But I got to do this. I got my favorite fighter of all time, and I got my favorite fighter alive. So Andre Ward is definitely my favorite fighter alive right now. And I can number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and just has a heart of gold, a boxer. He can go both ways. Southpaw or traditional, and beat you either way. Virgil Hunter in his corner, who's a monster. Got to meet him as well. And he's just, just full of wisdom, bleeds boxing. Actually, when I was at the gym, he was training, because Andre has his private gym, and I think I'm okay with saying this. I know there's some rules of secrecy and stuff, but I think I'm okay saying this. So, and everybody knows, Virgil's training Amir Khan.
Right.
So, Khan actually came in the day I left. I didn't get to meet Khan. But Berto was there. Andre Berto was there. And also Anguilla was there getting ready for Canelo. So I got to see both of them fight and spar and train and stuff like that. So, Andre, and then probably my favorite fighter of all time is Sugar, man.
Can't go wrong with Sugar.
I love him, man. Love Leonard, man. Love him. So, that's. I really wish that I was a little bit. I'm 25. I'm happy to be 25, but I have times, man, where I'm like, man, I wish I was older so I could have been there to see Alberto Duran.
Oh, man.
You know, in the No Mas fight, you know what I'm saying? I just wish I could have been alive when Camacho was in his prime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's irony right there, because as you mentioned, KB, you're having a kid in May. My baby's due end of April too. I'm having a boy.
Oh, congrats!
Thank you. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. And ironically enough, I'm decking out his room with memorabilia of Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray and a couple of the other greats as well. So,
nice.
His room is going to be decked out in boxing gear all over the place. So we're going to get along just fine. which makes me also think, you know, after your answer to my question there that you had, we got some big fights, you know, that are coming up, still yet to be announced between, you know, who Mayweather's next opponent, possibly Maidana, possibly Khan. There's a lot of still unknowns in that there, and then of course we got Canelo and Angulo, Pacquiao and Bradley, to name a few. Any one of those in particular that you're, you know, really looking forward to seeing getting made or getting done?
Well, I'm really excited about. Andre hasn't. I don't think it's official his next opponent. But some of the folks that they're considering, I'm really excited about that. So I really looking forward to Andre. And plus, I might, depending on the baby situation, I may get to actually fly out there and walk with him to the ring. So,
nice.
So that'll be dope if that happens. So I'm really, either way though, I'm really looking forward to his next fight, whoever it is. But the ones that are in stone, probably out of all of them, that I am most excited about, even more excited than Mayweather and Conor, Maidana, whoever he chooses. Though I think it should be Conor, but we can talk about that later. I'm excited about seeing Miguel Cotto fight Sergio Martinez.
Nice. Oh, you gotta give us a prediction on this one, man. We got Cotto that just came off of his stoppage of Delvin Rodriguez, which, you know, you got certain people saying yay or nay on that one. You got Sergio Martinez, you know, coming off of his last victory, looks somewhat a little bit aged, but you know how Martinez gets down, and you know how Cotto gets down. Well, who would you go for on this one? Give us your breakdown, KB.
Man, all right, I'll give you my best. It's very difficult because I got personal skin in the game. It's not just about, for me, it's not just about, you know, the stats. Like, I personally love Miguel Cotto, and I personally love the drama of Sergio Martinez starting fighting at 21. Right. You know, and then going to Spain and getting trained, and I just love these dudes. But if I separated myself, I think that I would give the fight to Sergio Martinez, provided here's the thing, provided some of his problems in his last fight were not ring rust. If that's not what it was, if it wasn't age, if it was just, you know, maybe he needs to adjust some things in training, then I think I'd give it to Sergio Martinez. I just think the way that he moves, the way that he fights is so unconventional that Cotto, who's a boxer, he's a boxer, or a Puerto Rican dude. Those dudes are boxers, so I don't know if his technical skills would do him well with a dude that's moving around so much. Right. You know what I'm saying? The dude's just not standing there fighting him. Like, you know, there's no toe-to-toe with Sergio Martinez. So Sergio's always giving boxers problems. You know what I mean? So I think, in my opinion, I think I give it to Sergio.
Yeah, I got to go with you on that one there. You know, Sergio kind of reminds me of how, you know, he'd be fighting against, you know, Chavez Jr., where he just pop him and get out. I don't know if Miguel Cotto has the legs to keep up with him and can cut off the ring enough to corner him there and just hunt him down like he, you know, did against Rodriguez in his last fight. But either way, I'm looking forward to that as too, and I'm tempted to really catch a fight with some of our squad here and head out to New York as well. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got a couple guys already talking about booking their flights out there. So I'm just questioning it because of my baby being due, you know, right there, possibly at the beginning of May. So not sure if I want to bounce already, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see, man. Definitely, man. I feel you on that. Well, AKB, I could talk to you for hours, man. I mean, just about life in general. You know, I found myself very blessed to have talking to you. You know, got some some nuggets of wisdom there that I'm definitely going to take to myself, and hopefully listeners and readers, you're going to be able to take the same with you as well. You want to give any final plugs, any shout outs or thoughts you want to leave us with here?
Yeah, man, I just share with y'all, man, just stay connected at whoiskb.com. My Twitter handle is at KB_HGA. I got some things in the works that I'm really excited about. EP March 4th, and things planned for the summer and the rest of the year that I would love to share with you. So keep up with your boy.
That's what's up. So KB right there dropping some knowledge not only in boxing, but in the music game and in life in general. Once again, thanks for stepping in the phone booth with us. We wish you success in life and on your upcoming release. And, we believe you're doing a good work and purposeful work, I should say, and leaving yourself a good name here. So much love for everything that you're doing, KB. And you get at us. We'd love to keep in contact with you. Anything that's coming out and going to be coming your way, you want to get out, you're more than welcome to come and reach out to us. We're definitely going to keep in contact with you, and hopefully we can keep this thing rolling, okay?
Amazing. Thank you, bro.
No problem, brother. Later.
Talk to you later.